Following on from last week's definitive 9 best saltwater aquarium fish video, I have now worked out the 15 best corals for a reef tank. I've split the list into the 5 best SPS, LPS and softies, starting today with the 5 best soft corals. It's the same drill as last time, so Prestige Reef and I chose 5 soft corals each and pitted them against each other one by one before putting them to the public vote on our live stream to determine the winner. First up is the battle of the wavies between papaya clove polyps and pulsing xenia. Now, papaya clove polyps have a little bit more colour than xenia and are both slower growing and easier to remove than xenia, but you still get all of that beautiful swaying motion, albeit with just a little bit less pulsing action. And while they're not bomb-proof like some soft corals, they are still relatively hardy. The runner-up was pulsing xenia, which I think it's fair to say is something of a Marmite coral. People love it for its relaxing movement, but the hate comes from the fact that it's a very fast grower and can completely take over a tank in no time, and because it's so slippery it could be a politician, which means it's very difficult to grab hold of and remove. On top of that, while it's generally considered beginner friendly, it can also wither and die for no obvious reason, which makes it a rather frustrating coral. For the next coral, we're moving on to mushrooms, and the competitors were the super expensive OG bounce mushroom and the slightly less expensive, but still very expensive, jawbreaker mushroom. And the winner with 59% of the vote was the jawbreaker. Often confused with the less orange Electus mushroom, the jawbreaker is about as bright a coral as you will find in the hobby, with its vivid orange body and red streaks. They also look fantastic under blue lights as they glow bright with fluorescence, and they're both hardy and fast growing, so you'll be able to sell frags of it in the long term to recoup your initial outlay. Although on the point of outlay, the jawbreaker on the thumbnail is firmly in the if you have to ask the price you can't afford it category at a spine-chilling $10,000. The runner-up OG Bounce is less hardy and a much slower grower than the jawbreaker. Because it's a redactis coral, the base of the coral is a little bit more plain looking, but the bubbles are what give it that pop, especially under blue LEDs. You can expect to pay upwards of £400 or dollars though, which is probably twice the price of a jawbreaker. And for a final fun fact, mushroom corals aren't actually corals at all, they're a type of anemone. Now moving back to corals that don't require you to sell your organs on the black market, and we have the hobby mainstay that is green star polyps, battling it out against the Florida Recordia. And by the finest of margins, the winner was GSP with a mere 51% of the vote. Now for me, GSP would be on my Mount Rushmore of corals. It adds movement with its flowy polyps, it's a stunning bright green under both white and blue lights, it's cheap and readily available, it grows fast but can still be isolated on an island, and it's a very hardy coral indeed, all of which makes it more or less the perfect candidate for your first coral. Now Florida Recordia mushrooms are much harder to come by these days, but if you're lucky enough to get hold of one, you'll be rewarded with a classic orange, blue and green coral that is as pretty as more or less any other mushroom in the hobby. The penultimate coral on the list was all about Zoas, with a playoff between the bright yellow scrambled eggs and the orange and purple utter chaos. And the winner by the biggest margin yet was Utter Chaos with a whopping 72% of the vote. Now Utter Chaos is one of the best selling corals in the hobby because it's cheap, easy to keep and absolutely beautiful. The orange parts fluoresce under blue LEDs and the polyps are on the larger side for Zoas, which makes them a visually impactful Zoa. They grow quickly, so they make a good candidate to try your hand at fragging in order to make a bit of pocket money from your tank, and the only thing to watch for is that they can detach from the rockwork and end up spreading around your tank to places you don't want them. Scrambled eggs on the other hand are a much smaller polyp and grow on shorter stems, giving them a more encrusting look than larger Zoas. And like most Zoas, they're also super bright, cheap and easy to keep, making them a favourite among beginners and seasoned pros alike. And the final coral on the definitive top 5 soft coral list was a choice between the Japanese weeping willow toadstool and the toxic green Kenya tree, and winning with 3/4 of the vote was the weeping willow. All toadstool corals will give you wavy polyps, an interesting growth pattern, and will get to a size that makes them a real centerpiece coral, but the green weeping willow has extra long polyps and glows so bright that it makes a great alternative to the notoriously finicky torch coral. Now being a toadstool, it is basically as hardy as corals come, which means it will put up with imperfect water parameters when things go wrong, and it will reward you with a genuinely stunning coral when you get things right. And of course the runner-up was the toxic green Kenya tree. While these are very bright and very hardy, they can be quite invasive as they grow fast and actually self-propagate by dropping little baby Kenya trees as they grow. And while that might sound adorable at first, it gets a lot less cute when your tank is 90% covered by the little green bastards. Now I wanted to keep this list down to just 10 corals, which does mean that many others missed out, so let me know your favourite soft corals in the comment section below, and you can watch the definitive top 5 LPS and SPS corals by subscribing and clicking here and here.